The purpose of this training video is to demonstrate how to add a new provider to the MicroMD PM system for billing and scheduling. The first thing that has to happen is you have to add the provider to the system under Maintenance and Provider. You would go to Maintenance and Provider and over to the top left in your action icons, click New and add your provider. If this is a brand new provider and you have not yet received or you won't be ordering a billing key code, you'll want to uncheck that box. If you fail to do so and you hit save, you're going to be prompted to enter a license code for that provider. In order to prevent that and allow you to continue, you need to uncheck the billing provider checkbox. You'll want to leave appointment set to include appointment if you intend to schedule for that provider. If you do not intend, you would set it to no appointment. Additionally, if you're scheduling something that is not necessarily a billing provider but needs a schedule, like an x-ray room or a lab, you would choose appointment only. For the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to be adding a new billing provider to the system that we have not yet received the license for. And we do want to go ahead and start scheduling. By entering the information needed or that I have on hand and hitting save, it's going to enter or create that provider ID number. Now that we've added the provider to our MicroMD system, we need to now tell it what practice this provider is going to be a part of. So when I go to Maintenance and Practice, you'll notice I have multiple practices. By hitting my F9 key, you'll notice on my title bar that I can switch between different practices. For the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to go ahead and use the practice ID number 1, Microsys Medical. I now need to click on the Provider tab and add my new provider to the practice. Once again, to the top left corner of my action icons, I want to click New so that I can then add my new provider, who's going to be at the bottom of the list because they're in number order. Under Billing Provider, you'll notice even though you intend to bill for this provider, there is no entry, and that is because we have not ordered from the vendor a billing provider license. If you have not done so and you intend to bill for this provider, you need to generate an order out to the vending company. In this case, it would be Medical Software Associates to order a billing provider license. But in order for us to keep going, I must reference a billing provider. And so I'm just going to choose the very first billing provider on the system. And later when the license comes in, I can just come in and use this drop down and I'll see provider number 27 in that listing. But for the time being, this will let me continue to generate the schedules. Now that I've added the provider to the practice, I've completed step 2. It's time to create my day setup. All of your schedule setup or items 3, 4, and 5 are found under Appointment, Setup, and your submenu. Classification is where I would add patient visit types like new patient, follow-up, surgery, lab, x-ray, etc. Any appointment classification you need would be added here the same way we add everything else. Under Day Setup is where we're moving next. First, we need to create our days. As we create the day setups, we can then add them into what's called a week setup, and finally, we can apply the template to the provider. There may be the need, and we're going to drill into what they already have here, to make multiple days for a single provider. As I drill into this normal day template, you can see that it's from 9 to 5 with 15-minute intervals. They've coded the 9 o'clock and the 9:15 slots to be a consult visit. Now, notice to the left the white box. If I were to click in that white box and put a lock, that would mean that the user on the system would not be able to book anything but a consult in that slot. By clicking it again and taking the lock off, this becomes a recommendation, but during the scheduling process, the scheduling agent could override and put a different type of patient visit in that slot. That is completely up to you. Location determines the location in which these visits will occur. For example, if you have a provider that spends half the day in one office and half in another, you could split the day location-wise and assist you with keeping track. So for the purpose of demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and leave this one alone, but let's just say that I want a 9 to 5 and I do every 15, but I just need different locations. And maybe I do want those consult codes there. I can hit New, and you'll notice that the name and the ID number are going to be removed, but everything else stays the same. This is allowing me to quickly modify this and make it a fairer full day schedule. So I have my full day, and maybe I start a little bit sooner than 9 o'clock. I start at 8:30, and I can manually open up the time intervals, or I can just hit my auto interval to do that. Additionally, my locations are different. I'm at the main office, and I'm at the main office for the full day. I like my lunch hour closed off, so I'm going to uncheck my lunch times because I don't want those showing on the schedule and accidentally booked with patients. And once I'm complete, I just hit save, and I've created another day setup. And you'll see that added to this. Now, if I wanted to look at the short day, again, if I wanted to copy this because it's a 10 to 3, I could easily do that. It would also copy all the follow-up and new patient stuff that you're seeing. In this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just pull my fairer full day, but I'm going to say I'm making it new. I want to change it, and this is going to be my fairer half day. And I start early, and I'm going to end at, let's just say, 1:30 is my last appointment. On this day, I do 10-minute intervals, and I don't break for lunch, and I only do this in the main office, and I don't want consult in there. I want them to be able to book whatever they want. I'm going to set that to none. Scroll down, just make sure it's ending when I expect it to. It is, and I just hit save, and that creates my half day. Now I'm going to go ahead and open my full day, and this time I'm going to say new, but I want to call it my fairer split day. And let's just say that I'm in the main office in the morning, but at lunchtime I move to the downtown office. And save that. So you can see where I can keep creating as many days as I need to. That's step 3. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that, and we're going to go to step 4, which is creating our week setup. The week is what is most important, but of course we have to create those days before we can go on to our week. So now that we have our days, I'm going to create a new week, and I'm going to call it Fairer Long Week. I'm going to have a fairer long week and a fairer short week. My long week consists of a fairer full day and then a fairer split day. So I'm at the main office all day, and then I'm split location this day, and then I'm going to do a full day again, and I'm going to do a full day again, and then I'm going to do a split day here. So I've got a really crazy Friday, and I'm going to save that. So I've created one week called the Fairer Long Week. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the Fairer Short Week. And on the Fairer Short Week, I'm going to have my Fairer Full Day there, my Fairer Split Day here, my Fairer Half Day here, and my Fairer Full Day, and then my half day again. And I'm going to save that. So now I've got 2 different week configurations for Fairer. I could have others if they were needed. The final step in the process is our provider week setup. And the provider week setup happens under that same setup menu, but this time I'm choosing my provider. So remember, when we added the provider to this practice, that's what made it available in this list. Now when I come in, I can see a date range here. And just so you know, this drop-down menu is just pulling the very first week. It may not be the appropriate week, so you always need to make sure that you're setting the appropriate week. And in this case, I want to go ahead and set the long week. And I'm going to look at my calendar, and I'm going to say that it's starting on the week of May 3rd. Keep in mind, our calendars go from Sunday to Saturday, so you'll want to just keep that in mind as you're implementing this. So my start date is going to be that May 3rd date. And I want to go out, you can go out as far as you want to. I'm just going to go out 1 year. And since I started on May 3rd, we'll end it on that same week, but I'm ending it on that Saturday date. So now I can apply Fair Long Week, or I can have a recurrence. I can say that I want it to be every 1 week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, or every first week of the month, every third week of the month, second week. You can choose as needed. For the purpose of quick demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and just apply it all the way out for a full calendar year. And I'm going to stretch this down. And you can see that it's applied, and I just hit save, and it's going to tell me if I go to exit that I've done more than a year. Now, let's just say that the last week of every month is where I do my short week. So I want to come to the last week of every month, and I just want to choose the Fair Short Week. So I would come in here, I can see June, and I choose Fair Short Week. So I'm overriding these to get the desired effect. I'm going to make that my last one. I could continue doing that. It's just saying, well, actually, I don't want to apply that. So, no. I cancel all there. Okay. So you can see where it has my Fair Short Week on there. As long as I've toggled here or done my apply up here, it's going to save that. Once I hit save and I exit, now when I go into my daily view schedule, and remember, I didn't start it this week. That's why it's asking me for a template. I'm just going to go out to the next month, and you'll be able to see that. So here is this was my long week where I had a full day, and then I had a split day, and then I had a full day, and then I had a full day, and then I had a split day. And you can see my split main office and downtown office. And the same with this week. This is going to be the same. But remember, my last week of the month, I said I wanted it to be my short week. So it should be a full day, a split day, a short day, which it didn't do for some reason, full day, and yeah, I must not have applied it on that month. Let's go see if I did it on this one. Yeah, it's on this week here. So the 29th and then the 30th. So the first should be my short day. No, it's for whatever. Yeah, it is actually my short day, 8 to 1:30. So there you have it. And so here I have 8 to 1:30. So that's my short day. Go to the end of the month, and again, my last week should have those variants. If you don't like how it looks, just close out, go back to appointment, setup, provider week setup, choose your provider, and go in and see what you've done. So in this case, I don't want that. I want my regular week, and I want the week prior to be my short week, because I don't want it to roll into the very next month. I want it to be the very last full week of the month. So that's how I'm going to modify it. And I could continue. I'm not going to for the purpose of time. Now that I've made those changes, let's go look and see what we have. Remember that I didn't start my calendar because the provider's not starting until May. So here we go, and we have our regular week still. And here I should have my short week. And I must have done something wrong on my short week. So let me go look at my templates, because it wasn't really it really wasn't keeping my, or what I thought should have been my short week. So let's go see my half day. My half day is from 8 to 1:30, and that looks good. So let me go check my week setup since I know that my half day looks good. Appointment setup, week setup. And let me go check my fair short week. So I have split day, and I have fair half day on Wednesday and fair half day on that day. Okay, so that looks good. So now let me go into appointment setup and provider week setup and see where I have my half day. And it should be on the week of 6/21 should be a half day week. So let's go look at that. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and just accept and apply that template so that I don't keep getting that error. But I'm going to go to the week of 6/21. So I should have a full day, a split day, a half day, and I do 8 to 1:30. But remember, I gave myself 10-minute intervals on that day. That's why it looks lengthier. And then I have my full day, and then I should have my half day again with 10-minute intervals. And I do. So once you're satisfied with your template, that's all you need to do. Now let's talk about editing an already existing template if we can. Let's see if I have any data in here. So let's pull up Paul Primary. I'll just give him normal week. And let's just say that he had a couple of appointments booked in here. I'll just put a couple appointments real quick from Anthony Smith. We'll put him in there. And then we'll do Vanetta Smith. And we'll close that, and we'll accept that. Okay, so now we've got 2 appointments on calendar day 4/27, but let's just say that we wanted to edit his template, and he was no longer going to work on Monday. So I'm going into day setup for this provider, and I need to create, actually, I could go, if he was just never going to work on Mondays again, I could go into the week setup that I'm applying to him, which is normal week. And I could say there's on the normal week, there's no longer, this is going to be a closed day. So I'm going to close this day. There's going to be no more appointments on that day. I'm going to hit save. And it is going to alert me and tell me that these are affected appointments. Remember, on the 27th, I just scheduled a couple. Well, if I close a Monday and I have booked appointment, it's going to tell me. What I normally recommend is go ahead and hit save. You can print. I would select all and print, and then I would hit save. And here's what save does. When you open that schedule template to the provider for the day that was affected, you're going to see a little icon that I call jail. And if you double click on jail, it'll show you the contents or what was changed. And the reason this is not displaying out here on the schedule is because we closed it. So there is no 9:45 or 11 a.m. slot to put those in. Now, if I needed to, I could customize the day to open those time slots, or what's probably more appropriate is to go ahead and move these patients to my clipboard and reschedule them. So to recap, adding the provider under maintenance and provider is the first step. Next, you must add your provider to maintenance and practice in order for the provider to be available for scheduling appointment templates. Next, you're going to create day setups to capture all the necessary components of a scheduling day for your provider, which may vary from day to day. Finally, you'll have to create weeks that allow you to capture the actual hours and days that you need to put within the week. So there may be several week setups. I recommend a naming convention using the provider name and then using the copy functionality demonstrated in this video to create those weeks for other providers. And finally, you apply the template by going into the provider week setup to apply those for certain date ranges. You can use the recurring button in the provider week setup in order to have alternating or every third week, etc., to make it a little faster to apply those templates. when you're doing appointment templates, if you need to add a location, remember that you have to go to Setup and System Preferences. You would add your location. It's already on the Location tab. So you would just click New, add your new location, and hit Save. And then you have to make certain to go add that location to your practice under Maintenance and Practice and the Location tab. You would have to hit the word New, and you would pull in your new location. That is what makes the location available for you to enter into charges and for you to apply toward your appointment template for scheduling purposes, kind of like we see here where we have main office and then we split the location with downtown. We could have triple split in the location if that was appropriate for your schedule. If you have further questions, please don't hesitate to contact our support division for further assistance. Thank you.